His Royal Highness the Duke of York has presided over the ceremony in Egypt to commemorate the Battle of El Alamein. He used the occasion to speak exclusively to BFBS to compare the soldiers who lost their lives in World War II with those troops who've made the ultimate sacrifice in Afghanistan.
The Battle of El Alamein lasted from 23rd of October to November the 4th, 1942, and is regarded as one of the most decisive in history. The victory led to the final expulsion of enemy troops from North Africa.
About 500 people from around the world attended the international ceremony commemorating the Battle of El Alamein, including British veterans who fought in it. The many thousands of graves at the cemetery are testimony to those who lost their lives in the fierce fighting that took place in North Africa, both during and after the battle. The Duke of York's presence made this year's ceremony all the more special, and during it he spoke of the significance of El Alamein.
From the British point of view, El Alamein was one of the critical battles of the Second World War, and the first real victory for the Allies after a series of disasters at land and sea.
Many different nations fought alongside the British in the battle, including New Zealand and Australia, which between them suffered nearly 1,600 losses. Wreaths were laid by representatives from each country and were put down in an order that reflected the number of dead for each. Had the Allies not won the Battle of El Alamein, control of the Suez would have been lost, giving the Germans almost free access to the Middle East oil supplies. But the troops led by Montgomery paid a high price, with more than 13,000 killed, lost in action or wounded. Speaking after the ceremony, the Duke of York said this was a day to appreciate the conditions troops fought in.
When you come and actually look at the ground, and I've seen quite a lot of the ground in this part of the world, I was at Tobruk 2 years ago, it is the most godforsaken, hard, flat piece of country, and to have fought over it is is just amazing.
Now, you were talking about the sadness, of the fact that so many people died in this battle, but also all the young men who are losing their lives now in Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you've obviously got a lot of empathy.
Well, I think that the point is that if we look back, and we have been over a number of years, about the sort of places that our troops have been serving over the preceding numbers of years, and the places they go and the conditions that they've been fighting in, and we hear about it at this time of year, at the remembrance time of year. But really, do people recognise that we have troops today in similar sort of circumstances in a country that is miles and miles away, fighting in very, very difficult circumstances in order to uphold the freedom not only of the United Kingdom but of other parts of the world?
For the veterans who actually fought in the Battle of El Alamein, the service brought back some harrowing memories.
We were bombed one day and we were with the Royal Scots Greys, and they hit an ammunition wagon, and one of the Scots Greys got on this wagon, threw the ammunition off, and he was burnt from head to foot. And we went and picked him up and wrapped him in a blanket and got him back to the advanced dressing station. And of course they took all the skin off him.
What were conditions like generally at that time?
Pretty grim. Shortage of water and food, and the flies, and the conditions generally sand.
This was the first time most of the veterans present had been able to revisit El Alamein and remember the close friends and colleagues they'd fought alongside who sacrificed their lives here. Jenny Curtis, BFBS Reports, Egypt.